Boom, we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us today. This is Tia with the Archivator. We're going to be taking a look at Bitcoin and gold. I want to show you what a beautiful cup and handle looks like. So let's just dive right into that. Let's start off with gold because gold has been running outside of its cup and handle for quite some time. Now, for those of you that are following the channel, you know we love the Wyckoff method. And the important thing here to note is that on this chart right now, what you're looking at is a multiple, almost decade plus cup and handle. So we have the start of the cup way back here in October of 2011, drawing all the way down to the spring in 2014, 15, 16, a test in 2018, and a jump up into the SOS into August 2020. Now, one of the things that's really important here to remember is that when we're charting cup and handles, you need to look for multi-year accumulation channels that take place. If you're charting a cup and handle on anything smaller than a year, it's probably not going to work out in your favor. But when we have multiple, this is a decade-long accumulation channel, you have so much more confidence in the positions that you're taking for waiting for these beautiful runs that come out here. For gold, it was a 42% run from this SOS backup phase into the secondary parts of its SOS. Now, once these start to move, because there's so much time here, you generally go into an SOS and then have another LPS phase that comes in place and a final rip-roaring bull market into the kind of Elliott wave functions that most people are used to. Now, as we look at Bitcoin, we can start to get super excited. Look at the similarities between these two in terms of what a regular cup and handle would look like. This is so important. We have over a few years from 2021 to 2024. Now, the reason why I think Bitcoin moves faster is because it just doesn't trade the same as the traditional markets. We don't close Bitcoin. It trades 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And because of that, what's really interesting is something that used to take a decade can now happen in just 4 to 5 years because you have twice as much time trading that asset as all of the TradFi stuff. So what took 10 years here for gold is now happening in just 4 or 5 years here for Bitcoin. So clearly, this is what the cup and handle would look like inside of the accumulation range. I've now marked it out here with this red cup and this red handle. The SOS and LPS phase, similar to gold, here we will chart out as well. It gives us this really beautiful, highly reliable pattern where we have a giant cup formed right here, and then we have its handle, which ends up being the backup phase for the portion of this accumulation range. Now, if you know me, you know how much I love Wyckoff, because in these very final moments, this final stage of the reaccumulation range allows you to go long without waiting and just jump in the final little bit to enjoy the rest of the ride without having to get chopped up. You know me, I kind of stay silent until that last moment arrives and I go, great, all the signals have matched. We've seen the reaccumulations within the range. Bitcoin is doing that now. As we zoom in a little bit on Bitcoin here, we kind of, let's remove our cup and just focus on this current range that we're in right now. We have been in this falling, almost annoying range for almost 200 days now. This is perfect, 240 days into a reaccumulation range, and for the very first time, we see the peak outside of the range taking place now. This is hugely important. This is where we're going to get usually a really small backup phase, something like this. These are the last chance to dance, basically. These are the last points of entry with the highest level of confidence. We can enjoy the biggest part of the move without having to get basically dragged around. So I'm looking for a very small backup phase. I made a video about 2 weeks ago saying, you know, we've kind of back tested the point of control, which is this red line here. I was really excited about it. I said I was going to make another video, but I got busy with some other stuff that I was doing. Since then, we've really tested that point of control, and we've made our first SOS move here. This is where, again, I am the most excited about the market because you don't have to wait very long to get the results that you're looking for. Again, if we go back to gold and just use it as a comparison, let's zoom in and get a really close look here at this final portion of the reaccumulation range, which is the cup's handle. As you can see here, as soon as gold broke out, it back tested the channel just a little bit, somewhere between $2,000 and $2,010. 2080 and 2010, a very, very small backup phase right outside of the top of the range. I think this is what Bitcoin's going to do too. We're going to get a small backup phase, and then it's just going to run. For Bitcoin, again here, if we're taking note, we are taking note of the handle, which is what we're in now. We've just completed a multi-year cup and now just finishing the handle. Going into this handle on the close-up view, this little SOS phase usually gets a slight backup. So maybe somewhere between 68,000 and the 72,000 that we're in right now. We've washed out tens of billions of dollars of liquidations in shorts that were there in the last 24 hours as well. And I very highly suspect now, this is like a 99% confidence in my opinion, that when you have all these co-aligning factors, that the bull market is ready to rip, and the funnest parts are right here to enjoy. Again, if you take a look at gold, it was basically just a few days you had to wait to enjoy the majority of the upside, which is around, for gold, it was around 50%. Now you might think, Tio, we've been in a bull market all the way since October 2023, and I agree. We've been in a bull market since then. We had about a 50% to 60% run for gold as an example here. And then you had a choppy period for gold where it was about a 15 to 20% gap for almost 1,400 days, just purely designed to get rid of traders and confuse them and draw them in and out of positions before the finality and the enjoyment of the run. Bitcoin here, again, on an accelerated pace. Only 200 to 400 days, but again, if you imagine it's at least twice as long as that, because the market dynamic of Bitcoin is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week globally, instead of gold, a much more truncated, short trading day. Basically, all the fun for Bitcoin is still right around the corner. If we zoom in here on the 45-minute and the 1 hour, we can see that we've jumped up. We may even not get that deep of a back test. There's going to be so much excitement going into this. But my guess would be is we see something very thin like this, a very small backup range, the perfect reaccumulation range. It'll look sexily finished, and then Bitcoin's going to run. Now, how high is it going to go? Let's not get there too yet. This is just the start. But as you can see here, my favorite portion of this market cycle has just begun. We've accumulated, we've hit all of our portions, and I think the same thing that we saw for gold here, the same thing that we see for Bitcoin. Let's scroll out for the week, where you have this gigantic, beautifully placed cup and handle. We'll just draw it in here one more time before we jump off for the rest. Is going to come into play, and we're just finishing the handle for Bitcoin here now. So these are highly reliable when you have them on such large time frames. I was bullish at the very beginning of this. I've stayed quiet largely throughout this reaccumulation period, but now that we see the finality of this is when I like to jump in. This is when I like to play with the most confidence, and I like to just basically enjoy the ride. Now, I think we're going to go at least to $120,000 here for this SOS. It's going to happen very quickly. And we're probably going to see maybe some LPS phases along that. So just as some quick conjecture, probably something like this. Probably something like this. Let's draw my brush in here. Somewhere we go, I don't know why it's not letting me brush. There we go. Brush up to 100K, LPS down to 80K, scream up to 170, 128, 130. And maybe see an SOS and maybe get a little bit higher there, and then it's probably done for a bit. So that's a significant move for Bitcoin. Again, that would represent about a 100% move. I think let's just for back testing, so here you go. Oh, well, we got 300% from the spring. So let's be not cautious here, and let's be not conservative. Let's go, what's 300% from the backup from where we are? Boom, we could go as high as $300,000. That would be my guess, but the first SOS being around 120,000. So let's keep an eye on that first target of around 120, 140, with our sights potentially on something as high as $300,000. Anyways, Tio with the Arcane Bear, my favorite moments in the bull market cycle have just begun when we form a multiple year accumulation channel. We get the final stages of the SOS and backup phase leading into the glorious bull market that so many people have been waiting for. Buckle up. Let's deal with the Arcane Bear. We'll see you on the next episode.